I was 14, and it was 4th of July, and I was with my cousins, and we had this grand idea that we were just gonna go buy some beer, and so we went to this store in the hood in North Memphis, and we got somebody to go in and buy some beer. We paid this guy, and he went and bought us some beer. And so it was a lot of beer. We got a case of beer, and we were two skinny teenagers, and so we were walking down the street with all this beer. And we were waiting on our friends because we were going to have this massive beer party as 14-year-olds. And sure enough, we looked around while we were waiting on our friend, and the police comes around the corner. And we dropped the beer, boom, and they got us, and they were like, you better not run. They put us in the car, and they was like, okay, if you can quote this Bible verse, I'll let you go. And it was the easiest Bible verse in the world. It was John 3:16. And I had grown up in the church all my life, and for the life of me, I could not recall.
Everybody, I am back. It's Summer, and I am here with another episode of SOVA Success Stories. And today I am super excited to be talking to my friend, Marvin White. And we go way back, and we actually have some really exciting new things that we are doing together. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Marvin. Marvin White is a manager of business automation and quality, right? At FedEx. Yeah. So he's a FedExer, and everybody knows I'm a fellow FedExer or a former fellow FedExer. And Marvin is still there at FedEx, but he has an exciting new role too with the Memphis Rebounders. He is the new president of the Memphis Rebounders, and that is booster club for the University of Memphis men's basketball program. So that's why I'm wearing my Memphis pin today, in addition to my Tiger Blue So What shirt. So Marvin, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, thanks for having me, Summer. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast with you. A little bit about myself, born and raised right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Spent a lot of my formidable years growing up in the North Memphis neighborhood, and so a single mom. And eventually made our way out to the Whitehaven area, where I graduated from Whitehaven High School, and my path was not straight. It was crooked, like a lot of people's are, especially growing up in a broken home. Saw a lot of things that probably shouldn't have seen at a young age. From physical abuse to a lot of poverty out there, but thank God, we had a lot of great support systems, made it out.
So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that. I'm going to ask you some details about that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. One thing I believe in is, your story can help anybody, so don't be afraid of your story, whether it's a positive or negative. You can find ways to really inspire others through your struggles. And how to overcome them.
Tell us a little bit about what you do, though. Tell us a little about what you do at FedEx and the Memphis Rebounders.
So I've only been at FedEx a short while, only 21 years this year. So
that's the same age I am.
Yeah, that's right. When I came out of Memphis in '98, I actually started off at AutoZone's corporate office in downtown Memphis. But I remember writing a paper my senior year, an essay saying what my 5-year goals, and part of that 5-year goals was to work for FedEx. And it was amazing that, within that 5 years, I was able to get into FedEx at a time where nobody could get in at FedEx. It was like, you got to know someone, and I knew nobody, and I responded to an ad in the paper, nonetheless, and got an interview, and the rest is history. And so today I lead a team of professionals that find ways to save FedEx money and improve our customer experience. We do a lot of data analysis and we lead corporate initiatives to bring change to our customers to make FedEx easy to buy and easy to sell. That's what I like to say.
I love it. I love it. So I loved my time at FedEx too, and had a sort of similar journey. I wanted to work at FedEx when I graduated, but I couldn't get in. But I know how hard it is to get in time. But I made my way there in 2007. Yeah, it was in 2007 that I started working there. All right. So tell us about this exciting new thing that you're doing as the president of the Memphis Rebounders.
Yeah, thank you. So the Memphis Rebounders is support organization that really has a sole purpose of fundraising and providing really spirit support for the University of Memphis men's basketball team and Coach Penny Hardaway. The Rebounders has been around since 1965. And so through this organization, it was really designed to continue to funnel support to the men's basketball program. For those that may not be familiar with Memphis, there's a lot of things that revolve around Memphis basketball. That in the 60s, it was very much a unifying force after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in the city. The team recruited Larry Finch in, and the Rebounders had a huge part to play in that. He and Ronnie Robertson at the time, and they really galvanized the city and really tamped down a lot of the racial tension at the time. And it's really been a blessing to the city ever since. The pulse of the city really revolves around the Tigers. And in this position now, I'm able to work with some fine people, along with our president emeritus, Harold Bird from Bank of Barley. He's been the president for the last 15 years, and being able to kind of walk in those shoes, and they've got everything set up really well where we can go out and reach these Tiger fans, not only the ones that have been around for 40, 50 years, but also attract these new Tiger fans that are diehard and want to know a way to connect with the Tigers fans. So we've made it a lot easier for folks to get involved through with the Memphis Rebounders. And we've got some great events that we host every year. We host a happy hour hoops where people can come out and actually see the team for the very first time, and all of the awesome recruiting that Coach Hardaway does. And then we have a golf tournament every year and an end-of-year banquet where we can get to celebrate the team and the coaching staff. So it's really an excellent opportunity. Glad to have Summer Owens on the team, as well as some other great individuals, Rilla Sanders, Kevin Woods, and working with Coach Rodney Hamilton, just really been a blessing. And then the ties between us all really make this such an organic thing.
Yeah, it's super exciting. It is really exciting. So this is all coming on the heels of me being the past president of the Alumni Association, the national board, where I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I'm taking a break from doing stuff at the University of Memphis. And then I get a phone call from Relis and invited me to be a part of this. And I couldn't say no, because like you said, for one, I love and respect you guys from our time way back 20 years ago in college, and the things that we have all done in our careers, and that we are still loving and supporting the University of Memphis. And so this is super, super exciting. And I'm really honored to be supporting you and the new vision. And then I also have a relationship with Harold. So to continue what he's been doing and how he's built up the Memphis Rebounder. So super, super exciting. And it's a very, very exciting time to be a Tiger, but I think it always is an exciting time, but it's even more so now. Well, good. So I'm expecting great things to come now in the future and in the future for the Memphis Rebounders. So let me get into the question. So in this program, I have what I call the So What Success System. And that means when a person can learn how to overcome their obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, it is my belief that they can achieve so what success. And that is success in spite of anything that you go through. And so, Marvin, you've already alluded to some of the things that you've gone through, some of the challenges that you've had, and some of the things that you've overcome. And I know personally that you are someone who is successful. Talk to me a little bit about some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome.
Yeah, I think obstacles are a part of life. And, I think to get to a point in life where you realize that you're going to have obstacles. You just need to figure out ways around it. You'll find yourself really kind of meeting your mark. But some of the obstacles specifically that I had to go through, obviously, like I mentioned, growing up in a single parent home, and not having a whole lot of access with my father at the time is, really been, instrumental in my ability to overcome obstacles. Really watching my mom work as a nurse at night, and come home and sleep. We really didn't see each other a whole lot because, our schedules were opposite. When I was going off to school, she was coming in home from work because she worked third shift. So we had to learn to be self-sustaining, but also learn to reach out to your tribe. No person is an island. So you've got friends and family that you can lean on. And I believe God will send you what you need to succeed. Also, growing up, not having a lot of those influences around, I had to have some, bad decisions as a young man, as a growing young man. You making some really bad decisions. I tell a story, and I tell a story often. It's not my proudest moment, but I like to tell a story again because somebody can grow from it.
Sure.
I was 14, and it was 4th of July, and I was with my cousins, and we had this grand idea that we were just gonna go buy some beer, and so we went to this store in the hood in North Memphis, and we got somebody to go in and buy some beer. We paid this guy, and he went and bought us some beer, and so it was a lot of beer. We got a case of beer, and we were two skinny teenagers, and so we were walking down the street with all this beer. And we were waiting on our friends because we we're going to have this massive beer party as 14-year-olds. And sure enough, we looked around while we were waiting on our friends, and the police comes around the corner. And we dropped the beer, boom, and they got us, and they were like, you better not run. They put us in the car, and they was like, okay, if you can quote this Bible verse, I'll let you go. And it was the easiest Bible verse in the world. It was John 3:16. And I had grown up in the church all my life, and for the life of me, I could not recall.
You were too scared.
I could not. I was just terrified. You know what? They took us to the holding cell, and they were really trying to teach us a lesson, but
Sure.
My mom came and picked me up, and just the look of disappointment on her face was just enough. I was like, I cannot do this to this woman who's given so much for me. And so I turned my life around. I mean, a few years later, I got myself together, and I ran to be the senior class president in high school. And lo and behold, I became senior class president. Got scholarships, all over the country, and chose the University of Memphis. And, the rest is history. And, those obstacles, I look at those as opportunities. It was a challenge for me to try to fit in and do something stupid as a 14-year-old kid. And that cop could have taken it, easy on us and let us go, and I probably never would have learned the lesson. I never would have saw that look on my mom's face. Right. So having that obstacle, those sets of obstacles in front of me has really kind of opened up the door to really just kind of set the tone for I never want to disappoint the people that I care about that much.
Wow, I appreciate you sharing this story, and I appreciate you talking about your mom, because I had the pleasure of meeting your mom, but I had no idea until I think I had left the house already. So she reached out to me. She found me on social media. I can't remember what channel, and asked me to speak to some girls from the church. So I'm like, I knew you grew up in the church, and I met your mom. And I think that's just super powerful. Me being a single mom too, I can only imagine how she felt. And I can really respect you as a young man wanting to make her proud and using that moment to turn your life around. I think that's awesome and admirable. And shout out to your mom, because I really like your mom. The next part of the SOA success system is learning how to eliminate excuses. And so, like you said, we all have obstacles, and we can choose to make excuses for those obstacles if we choose to. Talk about some of the excuses that maybe you made or some of them that you could have made that would have kept you from being successful.
Yeah, I'll use kind of a recent example. Recently, in 2019, I ran for Memphis City Council and in my district. And, you know, I knew going in it was going to be tough. In politics in particular, it's rare that you win against an incumbent. And so at that point in time, I knew I really wanted to have an impact in the city. I knew that I had the bandwidth and the capacity to do some great things in the community, particularly the underserved parts of the district that I was running in. And, you know, it took a lot of teetering and, you know, going back and forth with myself and with my support team on like, how am I going to do this? I've always been the guy that supports others. I've been, you know, a part of other people's campaigns, some of my good friends. And, you know, I've never been the one to really kind of step out front and take these leadership roles. And so, you know, I really contemplated not running or quitting in the middle of the race. But you know what? I stuck it through. It was a tough race. I used every bit of resource that I have, and from, you know, branding and promotion, and just trying to really just get my message out to the people. I learned some great lessons in that. You know, it's not just because you're a good guy or a good person that you win these races. It's really about resources and connections. But going through that process, had I not gone through that process, I never probably would be sitting here right now talking to you. I'd be probably still behind the scenes, probably doing well, but no one would know. And so I'm proud of that opportunity to run for city council. I ended up doing pretty well, gaining about 35% of the vote against the incumbent was pretty strong. It was not successful in that case, but it really opened the doors for a lot of other opportunities.
I think that's excellent, and I have a lot of respect for people who run for an elected office. A tremendous amount of respect for people, and I've been asked if I would do it or I should consider it, and I'm like, that's some brave people, some strong people, and I consider myself pretty brave and pretty strong, but I don't know if I'm brave enough or strong enough for that. So I admire you. I commend you for that too. And then I love how you took the lessons from it and are applying. And as you were saying that, I'm like, yeah, that's great. And I'm happy to be a part of your team and you taking this leadership role, because yeah, you are a behind the scenes guy making stuff happen. But now it's good to see, you know, you at the front and leading it. And I'm excited to be a part of that. So the last part of the SOA success system is calculating choices. And you've talked about some choices that you've had to calculate, but what are some other choices that you had to calculate throughout your life so that you could be successful?
I think probably one of the best calculated choices I made was choosing my wife.
Wow, that's a good one. Shout out to Korrie.
Listen, let me tell you something. It's so important to have the right people on your team, and choosing a partner that not only is smart and intelligent, but also that will challenge you when you're wrong, or when they think you're wrong, and having the courage to do that is super important. Don't surround yourself with all yes people that want that tell you what you want to hear. So you got to be able to go home and sleep at night. So you want to make some great decisions. So I think that was really one of the best decisions I've ever made. But one of the other big ones is choosing to stay home. So many times we had so many opportunities to really leave Memphis and chase the dream, all over the country. And I see that a lot in so many people. And I'm just trying to really encourage people to try to make Memphis, better by you being here. That's really my goal now every day, is to make where I live a better place. And I want to encourage, my children, want you to go see the world and experience it, and bring that rich culture that you learn somewhere else, those strategies that you learn somewhere else, and bring it back home and see it work. That's why I choose to be a mentor with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I have a mentee, Benjamin. He's 12 now. We've been together for 3 years. The assignment is only for a year. And so we've been together for 3 years. And that young man is starting, has grown on me, and I know I've grown on him. And, that wouldn't happen if I chose to leave this city. The Memphis Rebounders would not have had a chance to call on me if I would not be here. And having the experience of going to the university, being a part of the basketball team in college, and now serving this great institution under, Coach Penny Hardaway, a global icon, is just tremendous. And all that comes with staying home. So I just want to that's one of the great choices that I think I made. And I know it's tough. It's a tough choice. I mean, there are a lot of places that look great, outside of the city and have progressed faster than Memphis. But I think I still hold out hope that Memphis will hit its stride and become the great city that I know it can become.
I love that. And so I think a lot of people think I'm from Memphis because I'm so Memphis, but I'm not from Memphis. But I've fallen in love with Memphis. I've been here since I came here for college. So I appreciate that too. And I too try to make Memphis a better place. And I love that. I love your shout out to Korrie, to your wife. And that's a very important decision. And honestly, and I speak on this too, that and I'm guilty. I think a lot of us don't even take it seriously as we should. So one of the most life-changing decision that can, impact every aspect of your life. So shout out to you for choosing a good one. And then the other thing I want to commend you for being a big brother. That I know it's important, obviously, because you're doing it. But as a single mom, again, with the son, I know that you are changing that young man's life. Probably you're changing generations. You're changing his probably his whole family. You are making a major difference by doing the smallest things that you do. So I commend you for that. And I think that's awesome. And I didn't know that you were doing that. So you got a lot on your plate because you're also a dad. You hadn't mentioned that, but I know you're also a father. So that is so awesome. Well, Marvin, I think you are an incredible person. Like I said, I've been blessed to know you for a long time. And I'm excited now that I'm going to be working with you and get to know you even better. But with the SOA Success System, again, if you can overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, you've proven you can achieve SOA success. But Marvin, how do you personally define success? How does that look to you?
Success to me is a journey. And it's something that if you're truly successful, you never really achieve it. You get happy at the benchmarks. So you set benchmarks and you achieve them. But it is a journey. And if you don't have any success benchmarks, then you really need to define, what it is that you want next in life. I set some goals like to work for FedEx in 5 years, but when you reach that, what's next, right? Just to coin your phrase, so what? What's next? So you got to keep chasing after something greater. And it's not necessarily money. You start defining success differently as you age, as you mature. It becomes, a happy life with your family. I have 2 beautiful kids. A senior in high school and a freshman in high school, and one's about to transition into a new life, and I want them to see their dad, and be proud of him, where I didn't have that, and so that to me is a piece of success that I get to keep and cherish, and I hope they do so as well. Going forward and and looking at business and things that I'm doing in the community, all of those things are branches of being happy with where I am. Also, I believe that success and happiness go hand in hand. You've got to have a positive attitude going forward. There's just really no room to me for a negative attitude, especially now with so much going on in this world. I mean, we need a lot of positive light, some joy, some smiles. All of that goes such a long way.
Yeah.
So for me, success is all about chasing the dream always, never getting satisfied with the dream you had last night or the dream you're going to have tomorrow. You're going to find the next dream after that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That is something that I always say too, is when you achieve one goal, what's the next one? What is the next one? Because that's definitely true to who I am too. I love it. Okay, last question for you. What piece of advice would you give to someone who wants to be successful? This, however they define it, but they're running into challenges. And that could be one of your children. It could be a young professional like me or a seasoned professional like me. What piece of advice would you give to someone just in general about being successful?
So it's really kind of a combination for me. It's, don't be afraid to do it alone. If that's what's necessary, go at it alone. Do it afraid. Do it when you're not ready. That's a really important part to jumpstarting your success. I believe in, a higher power, and some people get faith wrong, in my opinion. Faith is an action word. It is not something you sit down and hope for and believe for, and that's it. No, for faith, you have to not only believe and hope, but you also need to take some action. You need to take the first step. And if you have to do that step alone, do it. And then if you need to pivot along the way, pivot. But always make forward progress as much as you can. But also along the way, the other part is find partners. Use that partnership to your advantage. Find people that are better at it than you and allow them to do what they do. You don't always have to do it yourself. Embrace others, and I think you'll find some genuine success along the way. So I think that's my advice to young professionals, seasoned professionals. Again, get after it. Do it now. Do it afraid. Do it alone if you have to, and bring others along when you're ready.
I love it. I had a little shout right there because the first two things you said are things that I say all the time. Do it afraid and do it alone. If you have to do it alone, but do it scared. And Marvin, this has been a beautiful interview. I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom. And I look forward to working with you with Memphis Rebounders. Go Tigers.
Hey, visit memphisrebounders.com for more information. We're looking for as many members as we can, and go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Thank you.
Thank you.